You still feel angry? You still think it's trans people that's like fucking up your life? He's the president. He could be fixing your problems, but your material problems remain the same even under this leadership, just like they existed under the former leadership of Obama.
And he said that perfectly. And I can't stress enough, I hate when these politicians want to scapegoat immigrants, trans people, black people, wokeism, critical race theory. They want to blame everybody and yo mama except for the underlying problems that is affecting every single Americans. So one thing that I've noticed throughout my time with this channel, and it's been about, I honestly almost 2 years, which is crazy. But one thing that I really noticed is that a lot of young people are being duped. They're being scammed and they're being lied to on purpose, because that's just kind of the world and social climate that we live in. Is like, you can make plenty of profit if you're willing to lie and to manipulate people. And more specifically, when it comes to these right-wing grifters, talking about, alpha males and the deep state, and everyone's out to get you, and it's always everybody else's fault except for your own, on why you can't be the person that you want to be in this great land that we live in. And it seems to like be so profitable that you can't go through a YouTube feed or just watch any like popular network and see these kind of people. And if we really want to get into the conversation, like the Republicans have such a strong financial machine that is just pumping money into these individuals who is willing to say whatever, whenever, to these young people to get them brainwashed when it comes to, trans people. Like, trans people are the reason why you can't succeed, or urban people, black folks is the reason why, your city is going down in shambles, or, the deep state, or wokeness, or critical race theory. All these things that have nothing to do with each other is the reason why the world is crumbling around you. And when you can manipulate and exploit young people who don't really know why they're struggling or why their parents are struggling, like, it's easy to like latch your hands onto their brain and just finesse them. You know what I'm saying? If you guys ever know what a pimp does, is to finesse people with your words and in the way that you move. That's how the Republican grifters do, because they flash their money, their cars, and say, hey, this is how you should be treating women. This is how you should be treating other people. And if you want to be like this, you got to live the lifestyle that I'm presenting. And that's what we get. So who can explain this a lot better than I can, and someone that I've been watching for a long time, Mr. Hasan Piker. He explains this beautifully on John Favreau, that guy, and he explains it beautifully. So let's go ahead and take a listen, and let's have that conversation.
Part is quieted down a little bit, but like they're like 90% of the way there for the most part, and that's it. Everything that they see is right-wing sentiment being expressed by individuals that they find charismatic, thought leaders, influencers that they subscribe to. And I think that is some of the reason why you see this movement. That's a normal situation that occurs when you have a Democratic president. When Joe Biden became the candidate, one of my locks all the way back in in the 2020 cycle was, we're just going to go back to the same culture war stuff very quickly. We're going to snap back to a lot of the same exact sentiments, like women in video games, or like ruining woke is ruining this, woke is ruining M&Ms. And they did. They very quickly snapped back into that comfortable space.
Or just to even add, remember when Disney, and if you agree with it or not, that's a whole nother conversation, but a lot of right-wing figures were saying, all these Disney movies and all these movies with women leading, especially the Mario movie, because, Princess Peach was actually a hero, and she was able to fight instead of always being the one saved, which, me and my kids went to see the movie. I didn't really care. I actually thought it was pretty cool, but people were like going crazy. They were losing their minds over a fictional movie that's not even real. Like eating mushrooms and you grow 20 feet taller. Like you're fighting over a made up movie. Get over yourself. So it was pretty bad. So
that existed under the Trump administration as well, but it was a harder argument to make to convince people when Trump was the president. Why do you still feel angry is a question I would ask right wingers all the time. I was like, your president is the president right now. You still feel angry? You still think it's trans people that's like fucking up your life? He's the president. He could be fixing your problems, but your material problems remain the same even under this leadership. Just like they existed under the former leadership of Obama.
And he said that perfectly. And I can't stress enough, I hate when these politicians want to scapegoat immigrants, trans people, black people, wokeism, critical race theory. They want to blame everybody and yo mama except for the underlying problems that is affecting every single Americans. That's what needs to be fixed. That's what needs to be fixated on. That's what needs to be paid attention. But Republicans know they're going to lose that argument. So what are they going to do? Find scapegoats. Democrats are dumb enough to fall for the trap and dive into those social conversations. So they're not focusing on the issues. So it's like now we're just going into this weird, awkward circle and we're fighting on stupid nonsense and we're both struggling. We're both working jobs that is not sufficient enough to pay our bills and still be able to go out with our families on the weekend. You want to talk about critical race theory, and I guarantee you ain't read a damn book about critical race theory or know any authors that talk about institutions that were created back ago and trying to figure out, does that have any effects on black people today? You ain't reading those books. Our kids ain't reading those books, but we're having these conversations. But you know what? We're not talking about low wages, education being too damn high, and the free education is subpar. Healthcare, don't get sick. You know what I'm saying? So like, that is what we need to focus on. But no, we're just stuck in this social conversation because it's, it's exciting. It's sexy talk,
Obama. So maybe it's not these like culture war issues that's fucking up your life. And of course, younger audiences back then, I would say, were significantly more left-leaning. Like that culture under the Trump administration was the quote-unquote resist culture, all the way from liberals screaming about even abolishing ICE, which is a position that I have maintained for years, but I did not ever expect like a brunch wine mom podcast enjoyer of crooked media to turn around and be like, yeah, we really need to abolish the Department of Homeland Security and restructure it. Like, that's a wild position, but we got to that point because there was it was culturally permissible, right? And we have snapped completely back in the opposite direction under the Biden administration, under the Biden leadership. And of course, when you have a liberal leadership, there's going to be resentment from younger audiences that are still, once again, feeling the same material harms that younger generations experience on a regular basis. And inevitably that breeds hostility, that breeds resentment. And it creates a lot of vulnerable men who are looking for answers. And I think a lot of right-wing podcasters and the manosphere and the like take advantage of that. And they do a very good job of taking advantage of it. They're like, oh yeah, you're angry. You're angry because trans people exist. You're angry because women are taking your jobs. Like they should be going back to a traditional lifestyle. And it's like, if you're like a 14-year-old boy who's vulnerable, who's mad, who's emotional, and you see that kind of stuff, you're like, well, yeah, I'm going to believe the guy with the nice car telling me that it's not my fault. It's actually the fault of all of these systemic problems. And that's what.
And just to add on to that, and I don't know if it's just this newer generation that's seeing these people like an Andrew Tate or whoever on the internet. It feels like it's this generation thing, which isn't bad to a certain extent. I know with my generation, we didn't really have social media till we were already like damn near out of high school. But we didn't have an Andrew Tate or someone like that to even have the opportunity to look up to. Of course, you know, if you've seen the news or whatever, if you read some books, then of course you can kind of get tapped into people like that in my generation. But for the most part, you just had your parents to look up to on what hard work looks like, or what, you know, supplying for your family and what that really looks like. So someone like me, seeing my grandfather wake up every morning, going to work and being able to put food on the table, that visually meant something to me. And I didn't have the internet to like sway me somewhere else and say, hey, this is the lifestyle you should be having, and this is the reason why you can't get it. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense, let me know in the comments, because I can't be the only one. You know what I'm saying? So I think just with the access of so much information and the access to a lot of people's lives that they're sharing, it's easy to manipulate people, say, hey, this is what you want, right? Well, you got to do X, Y, and Z. Or it's A, B, and C, and that's why you can't get to, you know, E, F, G. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe, you know, we have to be able to talk to our kids and mentor them and make sure that they know that people on the internet will lie to you. Which, I mean, I'm on the internet, but I'm not lying to you. Hey, slow down, calm down. I'm not lying to you. All right, let's go back.
That's what's going on.
I mean, you bring up a really good point, which is that it sounds that the resentment and anger is sort of anti-institution, anti-establishment, and that it is harder to maintain that if you're the right-wing manosphere or whatever when a Trump is president than when someone else is president, because you're upset with the status quo, and so who are you going to be upset with?
Yeah.
The people who are in charge.
Yeah, but I mean, right-wing manosphere guys were popping off when Trump was president as well, for sure. It's just that overall, there's always going to be a space for right-wing content creators, especially outside of mainstream voices. But they get like a lot of elevation from mainstream platforms anyway, especially with like Tucker Carlson back in the day at Fox News. Like Fox News will have any right-wing person of any demographic as long as they say the appropriate things.
There you go.
They certainly have a good focus on building this infrastructure, this communications infrastructure that spans far beyond their own network, and they do a pretty good job with that. And no such thing exists for the liberal side of media. That does not exist.
Which is weird, because I've already gotten, like, I would guess like maybe 20 comments on the Democrats are paying you, or Kamala Harris is paying you. Like, really? Because last time I remember, like, I was late on my phone bill a couple months ago. You know what I'm saying? Like who's paying me? One, how much? And I don't think they got the right address or bank account, because I ain't got nothing in these 2 years of streaming. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird, because if I was really a low down, dirty Shane type of person, and I would just wanted to be in it for the grift and be in it just to make that money, I would be a pretend Republican, because in my heart I could never stoop so low to believe whatever they believe in. But if I was just in it for the grift, I would be a Republic commentator. Easily. It's easy money. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to have facts or data. You don't have to read no books or no articles. You don't have to be caught up on any worldly events. You just have to see what Fox News is saying, see what Ben Shapiro is saying, see what Candace Owens is saying, and you said, just repeat, rinse and wash and repeat. That's it. But, you know, unfortunately, I have morals, I have standards, so I have to read some books. I have to actually look at data for everything that I decide to talk about. I have to remember this information just so I can have honest conversation with people. So I don't know. It's just weird that we need more people, which sounds weird, but we need more people to combat the nonsense that these grifters are constantly pushing out. And when I say constant, like they're like 10 videos a day. It is crazy. And then I wonder why I'm having these pointless conversations with people in my comment section who have no idea what they're talking about. But they feel so emboldened and so brainwashed because of the lies that people on the right are just selling for profit. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe that there is a brighter day. If I didn't believe that there was a brighter day, I wouldn't be doing this today. But once again, if you think I'm wrong on anything that I said in this video, join the Discord down below. Let's have a one-on-one conversation. I do have a open door policy, so let's talk, or let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And like always, let's have a conversation.